there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be swatching out all the shades I have in the Maybelline Vinyl Ink Lipsticks. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you are into eyeshadow palettes, essence and Catrice, and getting the use out of your makeup like I am, then definitely stay tuned because today I'm going to be doing a video where I'm going to be swatching out these Maybelline Vinyl Inks. And whenever I saw Ellie Glines featuring these lipsticks over on her channel, I got super excited because it sounded like something that might be right up my street. So I bought all the shades that were available to me to try them out for you in today's video. So let's have a chat. In case you're new here, then it's good to know that I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, and it greatly skews my makeup preferences, especially in lipsticks. And because I have been buying, trying, and reviewing makeup for more than a decade, I also have some very strong favorites. So if you would like to join the Snow Angel gang, then definitely click subscribe down below. So yes, I was able to pick up 10 of these shades. Now, I did see Ellie Glines doing an update over on her channel because there seems to be new shades out. I cannot get those because these are the ones that are available here in Europe. I found most of these in the UK on a buy one get one free deal at Superdrug. But then I spotted two new shades that I hadn't seen in the UK when I was browsing my local drugstore. So some of these I got here, some of these I got in the UK, and in the US you seem to be able to get even more shades. Now, the reason why I wanted to try these is because they sound like the best of both worlds. I've been really into glosses, but these seem to be like liquefied glossy lipsticks. That's the way they work in my brain. I did try one or two of these already out for an entire day, and I felt in terms of wear time and the way these feel on the lips, I feel they get a little bit tacky, but not to the point where, you know, you can no longer smack your lips together or anything like that. For the most part, these lipsticks just feel and go on like a lipstick, but they also have this similar sort of wear time. It's not like a drying liquid lipstick where it like really settles down into your lips, which a lot of people find very uncomfortable. So these are not like liquid lipsticks the way we were introduced to them a couple of years ago for sure, but they do have this like liquefied formula where you get the doe foot and then you apply it. Some of these shades are going to be prettier on me than others, and I think what I'll just do is that I'll stick to the shade names, which does mean that we're gonna get some like brighter and darker shades and lighter shades that are going to be mixing up, so I hope it's all going to work just fine. So yeah, I've got 10 shades to show you, so let me just get to it. So the first one I have is number 10, Lippie, and this in the packaging looks like such a pretty rosy tone neutral. Now, I have to say that within this line, from just swatching it, I'm not entirely sure how much I'm going to love on me, because I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone and everything seems to be quite warm. So I think I'll like some of the warmer shades, or the brighter shades I should say, but some of these like more neutral leaning shades, I'm not sure how this is going to show up, especially because some of them seem to be quite peachy. So let me put this one on my lips for you. First lipstick, and I'm already making a mess smudging this everywhere. So as you can see, it's a more glossy finish than your standard liquid lipstick. I like this shade in the swatch better than when it's on my lips. It seems to be like a rosy tone neutral in the packaging. That's what I'm getting, but then a little bit deeper perhaps. Reminds me a lot of Rhubarb by Beauty, which is one of my favorite lipstick shades ever. Sadly discontinued. But it reminds me of that in the swatch. But then when I put it on, it pulls like a weird reddish pink shade on me. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this. Like, it just doesn't go with my coloring. I'm wearing a very neutral eye and a gray t-shirt for the occasion so that we can really see what this looks like on. And there's not like a super warm toned eye that could skew what some of these lipsticks look like on. But this is just not doing it for me. Like, I love the finish. Like that little bit of shine, that's right there. It feels a little bit tacky at first, but it will dry down and that tackiness does kind of go away. So that's okay as well. But the shade Lippie, on me, I feel isn't perfect. And then we're moving on to 15 Peachy. Now this I know I'm not gonna lie, because it's a pretty light peachy shade. And those are never right with my complexion because I'm so pale and I've got the light hair. It just kind of drains me, and especially if it's a bit more warm toned, and it's usually not too pretty. Again, in a swatch, this doesn't look too offensive. It seems to have a bit of brown. So if it, like Lippie, pulls a little bit deeper than what it looks like in the tube, I might still like this, but this I'm sort of predicting I won't like. And that's what Peachy looks like. And as you can see, it kind of just disappears even. Like, my lips are too pigmented for this shade, so it just kind of disappears. And it's perhaps also good to know that these do have like a very strong vanilla cookie dough kind of scent. So that is also something that you need to bear in mind when you try these. They are very strongly scented, but it does disappear really, really quickly. It doesn't linger. It kind of just, you notice it as you are moving the applicator on your lips, but this doesn't last all day. Actually, already, as I'm talking to you, the scent is already disappearing. So I don't love scents, we all know that, but I don't mind the scent in this one because it disappears so quickly. But if this would linger, I would get nauseous for sure, because it's that very sort of artificial cookie dough smell, which I don't love. But yeah, Peachy, as predicted, just isn't quite right. Then we have this brighter, like, blue tone pink. This is called Koi, and I don't normally like these, but judging by how these two pulled on my lips so far, I think this may actually work, because it is one of the more cool toned options today. It seems to have quite a bit of blue, so let me swatch it out for you. I mean, if you look at this, and then you look at the swatch, I don't think they really translate very well. Like, this looks darker and more plummy than a true pink. So let's see how pink this looks once it goes on. If it pulls too light, I will probably not like it, but if it looks a bit like what it does in the swatch, I might love it. So Koi is, I think, the most successful so far. I like this, but I don't love it. I'm glad it's not as Barbie pink as I thought it was going to be based on the packaging. It definitely has more depth to it. It also has quite a lot of bluish plum running through it, which is nicely accentuated with what I've got going on naturally in my lips. But this is quite close to what my lips naturally have to offer. And then I just like to go for a gloss or like a nude lipstick that's really easy to wear. I wouldn't go through the faff of this, which can be difficult to reapply throughout the day, because when these do wear off, I feel they are very difficult to make look nice again if you want to apply them again after a few hours, which is why for a shade like this, I wouldn't go for this kind of formula. It's more so when we get to these kind of things, which are next two shades, are our next two shades. That's what I would go for with this. So let me see what this like orange tone red looks like. So next up is the shade 25 Red Hot, and this one I got from my local drugstore. So it's covered in sellotape, which is just lovely. They always do that to prevent people from opening the packaging. And this one, I feel like when I swatch it, it just has a little bit of a sheerness to it that the other shades don't have. So I'm not sure if this is going to look super patchy or not, because that, I cannot really get it to look opaque in a swatch, which is not great. So let me see what this looks like on. And yes, I'm getting the horrible ring of death already from swatching all of these. So do bear in mind that I'm swatching a lot of these, and these are quite difficult to take off. So that is what the shade Red Hot looks like. Now this is a little bit more difficult to apply, because when you first put it on, this does sheer out a little bit, as I had expected from how patchy the swatch was. But as you can see, you can build it up, and I think with this you can also like tap it on with the wand. So far, this is my favorite one of the bunch. Like this bright, lovely sort of orange tone leaning red, I just love. It's I would have liked this better though if it had been more of a blue toned red though. I don't think there's a really good like standard red in here. Like the next shade up might be that, but in the tube it just looks a little bit plummy. So I'm not sure what the shade is gonna do, but I hope that this is going to be a classic red. But yeah, Red Hot is my favorite of the 4 I've swatched so far. And this is what I was afraid of because we've got some lighter things coming up, but I can barely take this off. So next up is shade 30. This is Unrivaled, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a classic red, but something tells me this is going to be a little bit deeper than just your average classic red. Let me swatch that right below. And here again, that same sort of patchiness, which I think is a little bit weird. Like the other 3 didn't have that at all. Oh well, maybe it wasn't as noticeable because they're lighter shades. Who knows? Okay, so I did the worst job applying Unrivaled, but I do think it is a pretty shade. It is more of a berry though. It's not reddish tone at all, so the fact that I felt that the packaging looked quite plummy is true, because this just looks like a straight up berry on me. It's pretty. I like this, but it is a very warm toned berry. I would have liked this if it had more purple, but it leans towards like a reddish plum rather than like a blackberry kind of shade. And I like those kind of berries on myself just a tad more than I do this. Like this is pretty, but because it's also quite a dark shade, I'm not sure if you can see, but I really struggled getting this to look nicely along like some of my top lip. My bottom lip is quite full, but my top lip is quite small and quite, how should I say this? This sounds a bit weird perhaps, but quite sculpted. So I never use lip liners with my lipsticks because my lips really don't need it. I have a very strongly defined Cupid's bow naturally, but I found that as I was trying to get that defined lip, because of the formula, it kind of bunches up, and then you need to go back with the applicator and sort of like use it to blend it out a little bit, because else you get these like weird bunching up sections along your lip line. So with a shade like this, I want the formula to just be a little bit easier to apply. It can get messy quite easily. Moving on to a shade that I think I'll love. This is 40 Witty. That's the name of the shade. And this looks like that plummy, mauvey, neutrally tone that I like, but hopefully like some of these other shades that it's got a little bit more depth. That's what I'm hoping. So let me swatch it actually just below Koi so we can see how they compare. So yeah, here we have Koi and that is Witty, and you can just see that that has the depth that I was hoping Koi would have. So I think this may actually be my favorite shade. And there we have Witty. This is the kind of lipstick, the shade that I just know will look nice on me. Here again, I'm not sure you can see, but on this lip, I get that sort of bunching up on the sides that is very difficult to blend out. And I also get it to like, it also happens like in the corners of my mouth where as I talk, it kind of bunches up in there and then I get more product there and I really can feel the corners of my mouth sort of sticking together. So I don't love it for that. But this shade, I think I may actually just keep around in my makeup collection because I do really like the way this looks. Like this is a look. And maybe if you use a more brown toned like lip liner to clean up some of the lip, then I think that this can make for like a good vampy yet still neutral kind of vibe. So Witty, I do really like. And that one was a lot easier to take off as well. Not just because it was a lighter shade, but my makeup wipe just worked a lot better with that one. Oh well. Then we have number 35. This is Cheeky, and this looks like a straight up brown, so I'll probably won't like it. Not gonna lie. And I'm swatching it here below the Peachy shade, and you can see, oh, it's actually lighter than the peach. What's up with that? I don't know. But yeah, this, I don't think I'll love this one per se. And that's Cheeky. Do you even see I've got anything on my lips? Now granted, I did already take off 6 of these lipsticks and they are a bit more difficult to take off. So my lips are a little bit like more reddish and like a little darker than they normally are. But this just looks like I've got nothing on. And it's way, way, way too light for me. Like this does nothing for my complexion. So Cheeky, maybe if you don't have a very strong undertone or coloring to your lips, this may be pretty. It's really that kind of nude. I'm sure it can work. Like it does seem to have a bit of a cooler undertone, but it could just be my natural lip color shining through. I don't know about this one. I just feel it's a little like draining for me. So that's why this one isn't my favorite. But one shade I hope will be a favorite is shade 45 Capricious. And this is one I had to buy online because I couldn't find it in stores. It said they had it, but it was out of stock. So I did place an order for this one because this one doesn't seem to be available everywhere. What did I tell you? Capricious is, I think, one of my favorite shades, and also combined with the formula, like this kind of shade with this kind of formula, that's just incredibly long lasting. That's sort of what I'm going for. I like that hint of shine that it has. These aren't overly shiny, but I do really like the way this looks. So yeah, this is a really nice one, and I'm really glad I was able to still pick it up. Shade number 50 then is up next, and this is Wicked, and I think it's going to be the classic red that I was hoping Unrivaled to be. So this is Red Hot, and this is what Wicked looks like. So I hope this is going to be that red that I love. And I did shake it up, but this one again has that sheerness to it. What's up with that? A shiny, glossy red, anyone? I do think this is a really, really great shade. A couple of things that I have to say about this, though, is that it pulls a bit pink on me. Can you see that? Like, it's not as blue-toned as I'd like it to be. It's more like a strawberry shade, but with that said, that is a little bit more unique in my collection, but I was hoping it could be like a good classic red. And this one, again, it has that really weird, like, glooping around the outer edge that I cannot, for the life of me, get to blend. It just doesn't look very pretty. I do really like the shade, though. I like that little hint of shine that it has. I think that's very pretty. But what I have found with these, especially now that I'm putting some on back to back, is that they go on very shiny at first, but then as they sort of settle down, I feel they become less shiny. Like they dry more like satin matte rather than glossy, which is what I was hoping these would do more so on the lips. But I think that in a full-on swatch, there's a lot more shine than the kind of layer that you put onto your lips. I do also really like this shade. I definitely think I'll keep it around for a while, but just to give the formula more of a test. But I had hoped these to look glossier on the lips, and especially because I get this like weird, do you see that on my bottom lip? That it's like lighter in the center than it is on the outer edge as it starts to dry. Like these just dry a little uneven on me, which again, that's an issue I've had with these like liquefied kind of things and like lip stains and stuff. I very often have the issue that a lip stain will only stain my bottom lip and not my top lip. So I have had issues like that in the past where it just dries a little weirdly. I had some Kat Von D liquid lipsticks in like deeper shades that did this as well, where within seconds of putting it on, I would get this really weird sort of ring around my mouth where the color just didn't dry evenly. And that's what this one is doing as well. And finally, we have the shade Royal. And Royal looks like a brown toned red in the tube. So we'll see what this does. Maybe this is that classic red that I was hoping to find. Oh no, this is much deeper. Ooh, this could be a Velvet Jazz dupe. Just saying. Kind of reminds me of that, but yeah. Velvet Jazz does have a bit of plum running through it without it being too berry. So let's see what this pulls like on my lips. This is nice. This I really, really like, especially with this kind of formula. I think that this is one that I like. I think I'm going to keep this one over Wicked, because Wicked is nice, but it has that weird sort of edge. This does a little bit less, which I like. It's got a little bit of warmth, but not too much. It's quite vampy, but it's still a red. I think that in terms of like uniqueness, in terms of like what a red can do, that Royal is perhaps one of the better ones. So this is one I will be wearing for the rest of the day because I have some other videos to film as well. And I have to have lunch and all that. But yeah, I have already worn, ooh, what was it I wore? I think it was just a shade Lippie. Or maybe Witty, because that was like my instant favorite. That I already wore for a day, so I do know how these wear, but this vibrant of a shade I believe I haven't worn yet, so that way I can test the wear time even better, I'm sure. But yeah, these are nice. They're good lipsticks, but I feel that some of the shades don't pull on me the way I wanted to. The formula can be a little bit difficult to work with. You definitely need to smooth it out with the doe foot after you've applied everything. And I find it very difficult to apply this right to this, like to the edge of my lips, because if I do that, that's when I get the weird sort of bunching up. So there's definitely a bit of an application technique you need to use to get these to go on and to look nicely. Now I do feel I look a little bit pale with the rest of my makeup today to wear such a vibrant shade, but if I wear my hair down a little bit like this, then it may give you a better idea of what this would look like. I think this kind of lip, and then with like a gold smoky eye, I think will be really pretty for the holidays. So this is really giving me like Christmas red kind of vibes, so I'm loving it for that. There are some nice shades here, but the formula, as I already mentioned, is not necessarily going to be my pick for some of these shades. Like even if the shade is nice, I wouldn't wear it all that often. So the shades that I definitely want to keep around are these three. So Witty, Capricious, and Royal. Those are the three I'm going to be keeping. The other ones, I'm happy to have tried them, but those I don't really feel I need to keep around in my makeup collection. So yeah, thank you so very much for tuning in today. I hope this video was useful for you and that you got a good idea of what these lipsticks can do on someone with my pale face. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope you would like to stay tuned for more. I will be closing of the year with like makeup favorites and like worst products I've tried and all that. So that's coming for you as well between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and then we're going to do lots of other things in the new year. So like stay tuned for that. For now, thank you so very much for joining me. Thumbs up the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and then I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!